Welcome back. Today we're going to do how to do a light beam security system. So we're going to set up a couple of splinter cell type cameras that have visible light beams. If you cross them, it's going to lock the doors, set off an alarm, and you'll have to pull a trigger to reset the security system to turn it off. To begin with, we're just continuing from the key lecture. We've got the doors. I've set up a little house here, set up a side door. This lecture is exactly the same. We just set up a trigger used to a matinee for this door. It's set to rewind on play. What I've done on the animation is I've animated it opening, waiting 4 seconds, and then closing. So to see a little bit of what that looks like, just run up, hit E to open the door. It stays for about 4 seconds, then closes itself. And this is great. Now we do want to go ahead and set up a couple of other things, such as our security system. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to set up the light beams. So what I like to do is open up the content browser. Inside, let's see here, wasn't human lights, but we can search through. If we go up to the UDK game folder, we can type in the word lights, and we can search by the lights. This SNEC lights, wall light 01, is a pretty good one. I've used it before in a couple of tutorials. I'm just going to minimize that. Now this guy is just our light beam. He's not going to do anything other than sit there and be a source for our laser. So a good place to put him on this one, let's go ahead and put him on the wall. So right click, oops, we got to fully load that package there. Let's go back to the content browser. Right click on that, let's find that package. Down here under Necros lights, we're going to right click, fully load. There we go. Now we should be able to use them. There he goes. Comes in on the wall, and we'll just have this. And you know what? I'm going to have the laser beam actually go up and down. So I added this as a static mesh. We all know through previous lectures that can't move. But if you right click on a selected static mesh, you can go ahead and convert that to a mover. And that's an interp actor. Don't know why they have two different names there. But it's the same as an interp actor. So if we click it as a mover and we head into our Unreal Kismet, right click, it's going to be an interp actor. All right. So I'm going to get a new object variable here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, we'll go to a new matinee, double click on that guy, open him up. Normal matinee, right click, we're going to add a new empty group. We're going to call that laser base. Inside the laser base group, right click, we're going to do a new movement track. And this movement track, if we close out of here, interp actor 4. Okay, since we had it selected in the level. If we didn't, we could use our little variable over here. He's just a placeholder in case we need him further on down the road. It's opening back up the matinee. What we're going to do with this movement is we're going to start him out fairly low on the ground. Give him a keyframe. And let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, about 4 seconds into it, we'll do another keyframe. And we'll just move him all the way up to the ceiling. Do a keyframe. Now for this one, we're going to actually loop and rotate it through animation. So in animation, we've noticed he's taking 4 seconds to go up. He's got to take 4 seconds to come down. So we're going to move our little red triangle here over to 8 seconds. Oops, there he goes. Move our play slider over about 8 seconds. Let's get a little bit more exact there. That's close enough for government work there. Okay, we're going to move this guy back down until he snaps to the lowest point. And let's go ahead here, do a loop selection. Oops. Scroll out here, see our play zone's a little small. We'll pull that out to the full 8 seconds. And that's going to give us this little oscillating up and down laser grid system. Yeah, that'll work. So let's stop that play. Close out. In the matinee, remember we always want to switch on looping when we have a looping animation like that. And we need some place to tell this just to start moving immediately when the level starts. So right click and new event, level loaded. Okay. On level loaded and visible, just go ahead and hit play. Okay, we need a couple other things here. So what we're going to do is minimize our Kismet for a little bit. Going to open up our content browser, and we're going to get in, let's see here, something that shows the character that there's going to be light that they don't want to cross. And let's see. There should be an effect. There's a light flare and a light cone. Let's try the cone. So S flag base light cone, that's probably going to be in the pickups package, but let's find it. Yep, that's in the miscellaneous Kismet game pickups. So we're going to fully load that. Head on back up here. And we're going to find the package again. Okay, good. Don't know why that's not showing up when we get into the package, but select that static mesh. Let's come in here, gonna right click, and we're gonna add an interp actor light cone. And let's see here. Having a hard time seeing that one. Let's make sure he's in the, there he goes. Yep, so we can go ahead and rotate this guy around. Negative 90 degrees. Get him set pretty much in the center here of this light. If you need to, remember you can go ahead and switch back and forth between top view, front view, side view. So we're pretty much in the center here. To change up our grid size, we can hit the bracket keys. Left bracket gets grid smaller so we can get closer in there. We just want him floating pretty much in front. I'm going to switch to scale and scale him up. There he goes. That looks pretty good. That looks like what we're looking for. I'm going to stretch him out a little bit. So I'm going to go to non-uniform scale. Just pull him out. Get it so it hits that back wall. And that just makes it look, there we go, look a little bit more like a laser grid system. Again, this particular guy, he does not have any collision on him, so we need to select that. If you're having trouble selecting something that's translucent, at the very top of the UDK there's that little glass panel. If you click on that, that'll allow translucent selection. Hit F4, we're going to come down here into the collision, and we're going to do collide, touch all. And when that is selected, go into Unreal Kismet, a little bit away from our matinee here, we're just going to drop in a new event using Interp Actor 5, touch. So now we have something ready when he's touched. We can go through and play a sound. So right click, new action, sound, play sound. When he's touched, we're going to play the sound. This particular sound, let's go in the content browser. Downloaded one of the other courses, one of the other sections in this course is how to import some music. So I'm going to go to alarm. Downloaded something from flashkit.com. It's a good place for resource-free music. It's kind of free use. There we go. You can do a flag alarm. I think I'm going to choose the alarm cue and go ahead and place that in there. Alright, stop that sound so it's not playing through the entire video. Okay, so play sound, and then the target is going to be from this interpactor 4. So we'll just have the sound follow the interpactor it's going up and down. We also want to turn on some sort of alarm light. I'm going to hold L on the keyboard, left click, we'll bring this guy in here. Hit F4, let's give him a radius of about 512, brightness of about 3, light color is going to be, there you go, some very deep red, make it very bright. And there we go. Good. Just keep that basic on that. Now, right now, this light is just static light. So we're going to have to right click on it. We're going to have to convert that light to a point light toggleable. There you go. And the icon switches. He has this little pull light for those old chandelier lights. With him selected, we'll come back into our Kismet. We're going to right click, new action, toggle. Touched it turns into toggle. The target will right click, new object variable. So let me move this guy up a little bit here. From the out section, let's go ahead and get a delay going. So from the out connector, we can right click, set activate delay, and let's do a 0.5. We don't want a light just strobing on and off. That can cause trouble depending on if you have epilepsy or you never want to give somebody a headache or cause a serious medical condition by just having lights strobe on and off. So always give it some sort of large delay, 0.5 seconds, 1 second, that'll do. The out will go into the toggle, and there we go. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and attach this little light beam to the light. So the light beam is interpactor_5. We can see down here in the bottom, interpactor_5. And let's open up, let's select our little laser base. Laser base is interpactor_4. So we're gonna close up pretty much everything on here until we get to the object name, interpactor_4. So, and I always tend to get this wrong the first time. In our interpactor_5, the light beam, the base is going to be the actor that we're standing on. So this, we're going to type in interp actor underscore 4. Oops. Okay. There we go. So you have to do it a couple of times. So in the base attachment section of the interp actor number 5, the light beam, it needs to be interp actor underscore 4. That's the light base that moves up and down. Now, if you type it right with the underscore, it'll switch to interp actor mg landscape test, the name of your level, dot interp actor underscore 4. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We're going to select our point light first, and we're going to switch off in the light component. We're going to switch off enabled. So he's not going to start on. And let's do a play from here. So there you go. You got that light beam going up and down. Let's come in here. Okay, so there we go. And the light is not as particularly strong. Let's see here. It should be. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. So our interp actor, a lot of this is troubleshooting. We've got our collision, collide touch all. And our Kismet, interp actor touch all. Play sound should be coming through. Let's see here. I'm going to do a little troubleshooting. I'll be right back. Okay, I took a look in here. Apparently this particular static mesh is having issue with the setting the collision to touch all, and that's okay. We can actually get around that using a completely different method. So we're going to find our builder brush, and we're going to make this builder brush a cylinder. So let's go through here. It doesn't really need to be 8-sided. That could be 6-sided if we want. Let's see, and then we're going to build, close out of that, rotate the builder brush 90 degrees, scale him down a bunch. Just move that builder brush around our little static mesh. Scale that guy out. Now we don't want to be able to sneak around it, so I'm actually going to get some more screen real estate here. There we go. Move that into the middle of the room and non-uniformly scale that out. There we go. Good. All right, so that's about around our static mesh there. We want to add a volume. So we're going to come over here to the volumes, right click, and let's add it'll be a trigger volume, but we want a dynamic trigger volume. Oops. Saves that out. Let's go ahead and move the builder brush out of the way. So now we have this dynamic trigger volume. If we hit F4, we can actually set an attachment. So same way that we did for the static mesh is just interp actor underscore 4. So that'll move up and down. So now this particular trigger, we can head into our Kismet. We can get rid of that interp actor 5 touch and new event using dynamic trigger volume 0 touch. Come in here, make sure only the player can access that. We'll toggle play on the play sound. Our delay, we'll go back to toggle. Give that a shot. So right now, nothing's happening. There we go. Light beam. We have an emergency section going on here. And the sound is playing. Fairly hard to hear through my recording setup, but it is playing. Now we need a way to turn this all off. Okay, so we're going to find ourselves a switch. And don't believe there's any maybe a panel. No. Machine. Well, let's go through the content and see what we can find. There's a text cylinder. Nor you can just build something in Maya or Blender and bring it in. Let's see. Actually, I think the LT lights. There we go. So we'll actually grab that LT light. We will have to find the package, of course. There we go. Add the static mesh. It's over here in the corner. We'll place him. We're going to add a trigger. You should be well versed in this by now. Put that trigger down there. So with the trigger, we'll head back into Kismet. And we'll do new event. Let's see here. Using trigger 2 touch. And nope, I'm sorry. We'll actually do that used. So new event using trigger 2 used. Remember, you don't have to aim to interact. We'll bring this guy up here. So the instigator, get that maximized a little bit for you guys. Instigator is going to be a new variable player. And turn off all players. What this trigger 2 used is going to do is it's going to turn off the point light. And it's going to turn off the sound. The dynamic trigger is set to 1. Or we should check that. Yeah, max trigger count is 1. So you can only trigger the alarm once. It's not going to keep going on and on and on and off. Okay, we can later on, if you want functionality, you can create another switch, maybe outside, that arms it again. But for right now, we're going to do trigger 2 used. And where's our door? Here's our door. We also want to turn off our laser base. So when we use the trigger, we're going to stop the matinee, so it doesn't have to keep calculating anymore. We also need to right click, new action, toggle, and we're going to toggle hidden. Okay. And from our used into the hide, and that target will be interp actor 4. Okay, so that's all set. That should, once we switch that off, let's play from here. Make sure we didn't break any functionality. Let's go in, get ourselves caught by the security system. We're caught. Let's run over here and use that. Well, let's stop the matinee. We've got a couple of things going on here. Did not hide the system, which is okay. Let's see, hide, target interp actor 4. Should be fine. Now what we have going on is a toggle for the point light. So let's try to hide that point light as well. Okay, the alarm goes off. The light is not really doing what we want. So let's see here. No, you should be fine on that. And that's interp actor 5. My bad, guys. We are hiding the wrong thing. Let's head back into Kismet. We don't want to hide interp actor 4. So we'll alt, grab that. We want to new object variable using interp actor 5. We'll hide that. Now this toggle, it's going on in a delay. So what we will do is we'll have to disconnect that. We're going to do a new condition comparison on bool. So compare bool. It's going to say my bool is a new variable bool. We should start that off as true. So switch that to a 1. So this delay compares the bool. If it's true, go to toggle. Oops. And if it's false, turn it off. Now the trigger to used, we're going to need to do a condition, new action, math. Let's see here. Where is my bool? Object, set variable bool. Used in, target is this bool. And the value is going to be a variable bool, which is false. All right, so what this is doing is it's going to do its toggle on the light, wait for half a second, compare the bool that's true. If the bool is true, we're going to go back to toggling and just keep that loop. If the bool is false, which it'll only be after you use the trigger, basically the turn off switch, then that bool will become false, and it'll compare the bool. It'll say, oh no, it's false. I'm just going to turn off the light. Okay. So we can come in here, do a play from here. Got the light going on. Let's see if I can trigger that. There we go. And the lights stop moving. Everything's set. All right, so the last thing we need to do to make this a true locked door situation is that we're going to come into Kismet. We've got a spider web going on here, but that's okay. Our matinee for moving, this is our trigger one used. We're actually going to go ahead and turn this off, this enabled off. And we have one last trigger to do. So it's going to be a new action toggle from our trigger. I'm just going to actually put them after the bool. We've got a lot of stuff going on from that trigger used. So turn on the event of trigger 1. Test that out. So we'll wait for the light to go. I'm going to run up to the door and try to open them. Nothing's happening. I can trigger the alarm if I want. Come in here. Alarm's off. Head back to the door. And he opens. So there you go. And that will continue to open. You've turned the alarm off. That's all fine. So that is how we set up a security system. You guys can imagine what you can do. It doesn't have to move up and down. You can actually get something to take the place of a camera. Set it to rotate in your matinee, and then just lock that dynamic trigger volume and that light beam to it. And you can make a splinter cell type map if you want. These switches do not need to be on the ground. They can be on the wall if we want. So let's move this guy around here. If this makes more sense for him to be on the wall, then put him on the wall. And then just move your trigger accordingly. Move him up. And if we hit F4, we can get into the cylinder component, and we can make this something like 10 and 10. You have to be very close to this guy. Almost on top of him. So if it makes more sense for the trigger to be over there, then have the trigger over there. That way you can trigger it. Come back in here, go E. Yay. And door opens. So you guys have learned how to create a pickup system for collectibles, how to create any sort of hazard, touch death elements. These can be spears, they can be smashers, two pieces of wall coming together and just smashing the head. You've learned how to do an alarm system. So I want to see you guys take this and do something creative in the levels. All right, and we will see you in the next lecture.